Hi everyone, Sue Matsuki here with another Sue's Muse. Today I have a friend that I've known for a long, long time, and she is a pillar in our community. Please welcome Linda Amiel Burns. Thank you so much for being with
Hi,
me today.
Sue. Well, thank you for doing this. This is
So
kind of
where are
fun,
you? You're in your new digs up in Connecticut?
right? In Stamford, Connecticut. But
How's
I'm
that
really near the
going?
train station and I'm on the water. And it's almost like a dream it happened without my really wanting it to. But
Oh, there you go.
somehow, some things are very predestined in a way,
The
right?
shirt.
Still
Yeah.
have my piano, still have my music. I
And I
gave
see
away
all
some
your
music,
various awards up there.
right? The MAC Awards, the TRU. A student gave me this. How did she find it? Greatest coach ever.
Eva.
Well, so I
Awesome.
said, thank you. And I had a night at the Metropolitan Room. Bernie Fershpan
Yeah, the people you
did
should know.
that.
I helped him produce those shows. Yeah.
And he just called me recently. He's so great about keeping up with people,
Yeah, he's
you
he's a
know.
great, he's a
And
mensch.
that's part of it is the community and the friends we've made.
Mhm.
It's not the money we make or the prestige we make because a lot of it is a lot of hard work of schlepping amps and mics and booking and
Yeah,
worrying
as
about
producers,
everybody.
as producers, we have to do it all and literally crawling on the ground trying to find an outlet someplace. And yeah, I know. Believe me, I
And you
know.
book a club and then you know it's going to be closing and you got to find another one. And I mean, I started like in the 70s. But, music has been so much in my life. A lot of people don't know. My father had restaurants on Broadway, the Turf Restaurant on 49th and Broadway,
Hmm.
that after the World's Fair he opened up, and Jack Dempsey's. And both were in the Brill Building, which was the music publishing hub of the world. And the publishers would send the sheet music down to my father. And he had a songwriter's corner. I even have a picture of him with Frank Sinatra in the songwriter's corner. And he decoupaged all the songs
And your
around.
family was friends with Danny Aiello as well, right?
Very friendly.
Yeah.
And, that picture with Frank Sinatra is great in the corner. But my father would sometimes bring the music home, or songwriters would be having lunch and he would say, now that's Ruby Bloom. What did he write? That's Sammy Kahn. And here this little 6-year-old girl would go, oh, he wrote Time After Time, or Edgar Leslie, or people don't even know very much.
So did
So,
you start singing at a young age? Did you know you wanted to sing or did that come a little
yes,
later?
what am I going to show you here? This is the big one. Okay, wait a minute.
I love
So you're
this.
not going to
We're
see
pulling things off the walls for you people. Aw. Oh, look how
the
sweet.
tap dancing kid, right? We did Macy shows. I was on Horn and Hardart Children's Hour. I was on Charlie Lowe was a very big dance teacher. We had our specialties. And I thought
Aw.
I was going to be doing this for my
It's
life.
funny. I think we're of a similar age because I have a pretty similar picture to that in the same
With
kind of costume.
silver shoes. And my father said, my family, they were sending me to a private school, and they say, I'm the only one who sleeps during rest period because I was going to classes, resting. I was at Macy's doing shows. I loved it. And then they said, we think you should have a good education, et cetera, et cetera. And I
Yep.
think in a way, it was very stressful when you're a kid. You're being rejected. Milton Berle comes to pick the kids, and this one comes. And my mother was ill, so all the stage mothers would push the kids in the front, and there I was, sort of in the back, and going,
Mm.
you know. So early on, I knew how competitive it was. I knew how difficult it was, but I loved performing. They'd give you little routines to dance and sing, and I loved it. And I was very young. I was only 16 when my mother died, and she was the one who loved all this for me. But somehow I knew how transformative music was. And after a divorce and kids and problems, I thought, what am I going to do now? And I couldn't travel. I wasn't going to be uh, going anywhere. I had two
Mhm.
babies to bring up by myself. And I thought, I remember what music does. I rented a piano. I took my sheet music from my dad's house, and that's when I began the singing experience.
I was just going to ask you when did that happen? How many years have you been doing the singing experience? For a while now, right?
That's why it's close to a half a century.
Can you believe
Started
it?
actually in 1977. And I had a living room that had when I had the piano, and the neighbors were not too happy, but I called a few friends together, and I said, I have an idea. I'm going through this divorce, and I'm a single mom, but I have an idea of what we're going to be doing, what I want to do. And I called them together, and they said, all right, let's humor her. She's going through a tough time. And they came, and I said, we're going to start singing, and I want you to express yourself through song. And I was going through a lot of stage fright and a lot of I can't do it. But little by little, I began to build it up. And I used to use the performance was at like a rehearsal hall. And one day I said, let's get a real nightclub and let's graduate at a nightclub. There was not one owner. And I knew a lot of the nightclub people because I was going to nightclubs as a kid, even the Coke,
Well, these were when all the clubs were nightclubs and not cabarets. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
cabarets. And they would say to me, do you think we're going to have non-professionals come up and sing? It's going to ruin our reputation. And so I booked the Fives at 555 West 57th Street, an odd little club. And 300, as a Cole Porter show, and 300 people showed up. And at that point, every owner of every club called
Was
me
calling
and said,
you, right?
that singing thing you want to do? I went to the grand finale. I went to, all of them, little
Linda,
by
that's
little,
called having the last laugh.
at the last laugh.
Yeah.
Because I always worry about an audience, but I always pack a house. I mean, it just happens. People invite people, or even graduates would come back to see what was happening with the people there.
Tell me
But
as
what
an
I did learn
educator.
about the transformation was so great.
Yeah, I'm hearing transformation. Tell me as an educator, I'm assuming I know the answer because you just said transformation. What, as an educator, what is it like from the beginning of the class to seeing them actually step on stage and hitting it? How does that feel? What is that?
What's
That's got to be
interesting,
the best.
CBS Sunday Morning came, Bill Geist, and he said when he came to the first session and he came to the performance and he said, those are not the same people. You switched them on me. I said, those are the same people. In 3 or 4 rehearsals, I found a magic way to make them comfortable, to make them support each other. I don't let people audit because I don't want people strangers. I said, if you want to see this thing, you'll come to the performance.
Yeah.
But to see everybody says, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I would say, just do it.
Now, I
And it was
know that you've had a lot of people over a half century of teaching.
5,000
Who
graduates.
are some of the who are some of the names that are performing still today that started with you back in the day?
Well, it's interesting. Just now, Evelyn Sullivan, she's just doing a show. She just won the
The
Big
Eve
Mama's
Sullivan
thing.
Show. I saw the,
Yeah, she
yeah.
was in an article and she really said, I came to the singing experience first. Actually, Jason Ellis, her director, was a friend of my daughter's, and he was sort of lost a little. I said, Jason, why don't you take the singing experience? And I found out what talent he had. And then I gave him, Sydney helped me give him the job of a tech director at Don't Tell Mama. And actually, he proposed to his first wife at the singing experience. It's on video. And then they got divorced and he met Evelyn. But let me see who else. There's so many graduates I see all the time of, I said, really, it changed my life. Even now that since COVID, I had to stop a little bit. The New York Times wrote that singing was more dangerous than talking.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to sing with a mask. And I didn't really like Zoom for classes. I think of the interaction, they support each
Yeah.
other. And I didn't want people in little boxes.
Yeah.
I've sort of calmed it down for a little while. I do a channel with hundreds singing on it.
Yeah.
And I do see my graduates. And I directed hundreds of acts, a lot of the people were doing acts. So it really was very exciting. How do they get to the next step?
Yeah.
What do they do with it? And everyone
Um,
always asks me, did I want to ever do an act?
I
Well,
want to
I've
ask
been
you how you came to the American Popular Song Society, which you are now the president of and have been for a while. It used to be the Sheet Music
New
Society.
York Sheet Music
Yeah, tell
Society.
me a little bit about the history and
It was
how it
about
came to
40
be.
years ago.
Yeah, you're in your 41st year, right?
Yes, and this was interesting. I had opened up the Symphony Cafe with my cousin Joe. It was a beautiful restaurant, and I said to the designer, what are you putting in all these cabinets? He said, oh, we're calling it Symphony Cafe. It's in the Symphony House. It has a musical theme. So maybe a top hat, maybe a manuscript. So I said, how would you like Fred Astaire's top hat? He said, what are you kidding? I remembered that the Songwriters Hall of Fame had lost their lease. And I had seen Cole Porter's Fred Astaire's top hat signed by Cole Porter. And I knew that they had lost their lease. And somewhere in a storage bin was all this memorabilia. So I called Sammy Kahn up from California. He was in California. And
As you
I
know,
said,
we do. We just call up
I,
Sandi Khan.
and
Yeah,
I said, you
yeah.
may not remember me, but you knew my dad, and I met you from the Brill Building as a child. And what do you want? So I said, where is all the stuff from the Songwriters Hall of Fame? I said, if we display it, you could have a real Hall of Fame. I know that's what you want. So he said, you want it in a restaurant? I said, let's get it out of storage and let's display it. And I have a room on the side. We could do all kinds of catering and shows. So he comes to New York, and I'm under construction, and he looks at me and he goes, Linda, this looks like downtown Beirut. You think I'm going to give you all my precious memorabilia? I said, just trust me. I'm going to make this fabulous. Well, when I went to the storage and I got his Oscar for Three Coins in the Fountain and all kinds of stuff from Frank Sinatra and great memorabilia, and I put it on all the cabinets. And when I opened, I had every songwriter who was alive that I wanted to be there. From Julie Stein. I had one limo I was given in my budget, but I timed it. So Julie Stein came. I took two beautiful girls in the car with him. I had Sheldon Harnick. I have the most beautiful pictures. Entertainment Tonight came when I opened it. And, I've had other restaurants and I've had other clubs, but you need a hook. And to have the Songwriters Hall of Fame and have the memorabilia and then I also had a mural of Carnegie Hall, and we were looking down on it. Mm-hmm. So it really was so exciting. It was like a highlight of my life. Mitchell Parrish was there, and everybody, when you look on the sheet music and you see their names, and you say, I knew that songwriter. I love songwriters.
Here's the thing with Linda. We've all known Linda. Everyone who's watching this probably knows who Linda is. Did you realize all this history is in this one woman? And it's been an incredible life that you've led. Before we run out of time, I just wanted to share your current season. This was your 25th season. Look at the array of talent that you've had there this year. Goldie's show is May 10th. I've seen What a Man several times, the Anthony Newley tribute show, but I'll try to get this interview up in time to promote your closing show, which is Karen Mason and all that jazz on June 14th. But congratulations on this. Now, do you have a committee that
I have a wonderful board.
You have a board.
And Will Friedwald and some great people. I just lost Danny Backer, who was a very valuable
we all
Sandi Durell just passed away. It was so shocking to us to lose these people.
Yeah.
And this is maybe my 400th program, because I've been doing this a very long time. When it was the New York Sheet Music Society, I had different programs at Local 802, and then they decided they were no longer going to allow music at the Musicians Union. So about 15 years ago, I decided sheet music I love sheet music, but young people don't not know what it is. They get it on the computer. They don't care about the covers. They don't care about the artwork. And although I'm still involved with a lot of collectors and things, I said, we have to change the name. And I didn't want anything about songbook, because that really limits it.
Yeah, so it's confusing with
the American Popular Song Society is of the past, the present, and the future. The American Popular Song, and that's why we even did a Taylor Swift program, because I want them to know there are other songwriters out there. And Sandi Durell for 20 years produced a songwriter showcase for us with Rupert Holmes and Amanda Green, and it was known songwriters, and it was so thrilling.
I know you and Sandi were very close. I'm so sorry. We're all sorry for her loss, but yeah.
So that's what happens, when you get to this stage of life and you think, wow, you don't want to lose people. But the music connection that you have with them.
And what they brought to you while they were here is what's important, that connection.
And she loved to sing, Sam.
Oh, yeah. Too. She was a great singer, actually.
She was a great singer.
So before we close down, I just wanted to, I like to sometimes ask people, great advice from a mentor, but you are a mentor. What is a kind of a mantra of yours, or do you have a new phrase or something that kind of you'd like to share with all of us as a leader of our community?
Well, it's funny you should ask. I always
You just
tell
happen to
people,
have it there?
to keep singing. I always say, even my message was to keep singing, no matter what's going on in your life. But a message was sent to me. I came off a boat in Nova Scotia, and on someone's table was this little sign. And I think we're so worried about the past and what's going on. And it said, don't sing of yesterday. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't written. Make today your song. And part of it is for all of us to keep singing through everything, to keep doing what you love, to not keep saying no and say yes. When somebody asks you something, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll go. Do you want to do a talent show for a senior center? Not really. Yes. And it turned out to be a great experience. And I'm so grateful that I did the singing experience all these years. I mean, I could have done other things and made more money, but to have 5,000 graduates who wrote to me that say, you've changed my life and thank you so much. And now it's not only about singing, it's
Mhm.
about how you live your life. Be a star every year, part of your life. Treat yourself with great confidence, you know. And so that's what the music is, the connection,
Well,
and
you
singing songs that express something that's going on in your life to free you. So
You are music there, Miss Linda. You are music. And on behalf of the community and for those of us who've known you a long time, I'm really glad I got a chance to just chat with you and let other
thank you.
people who maybe not know you as well as we do get to know who you are. To me, you're music, you're everything. Thank you for your contribution to our community for all these years. My
And
muse
thank
for the
you
day,
too
Linda Amiel Burns.
for
We'll see
this
you.
wonderful interview and for all you've been doing to promote it.
Thank you. It's my
Good
pleasure.
luck in the
Trust me.
future. Mwah.
Well,
Love you.
we'll see you next time on Sue's Muse. We are Nightlife Exchange. Thank you, Linda. Have a great day.